Hello, Duelist Young, my name is Yugi and welcome back to Rush Duel Archetypes. Now, I know it's Spooky Month, and I'm going to do something on brand for Spooky Month. So, yeah, it's October, it's Halloween, everyone's in the mood, so let's get straight into it. So, the archetype I'm going to talk about is kind of related to something like the Digital Circus, but became a lot earlier in the timeline before Digital Circus existed. But yeah, I'm now talking about it, so we're going to talk about the Metarion archetype. First introduced in the extra transcendent enchantment pack. That's a mouthful. It was used by Yua Gohar, the fifth sibling of the Gohar siblings. I know, again, I should really not be trying to say that all at once, but they also recently got new support in the Neo Legends Awakening pack. So, you know what? This is perfect timing. It's Halloween. We got new monsters. Let's get into this. So, we're going to talk about the main deck monsters. Now, you're probably wondering, shouldn't you have a clarification thing at the start before talking about the monsters? Yes, but no. Let me explain. So, the main deck monsters and the extra deck monsters have two different completely, classification standards. So, yeah, for this one archetype I'm probably moving forward, we're going to talk about the classifications as a after what we're going to talk about. So the main deck monsters. Their classifications are monsters have to be light attribute. The monsters must be different monster types, but machine. We'll talk about that one in probably just a little bit. The monsters must have fire and defense, and having a circus theme or theme park related. So yeah, these monsters are basically circus freaks or carnies, as Americans or Englishmen would say. I don't know where it came from, but carnies is the correct term. So let's get started with Imaginary Actor, a level 1 light attribute machine type monster with 500 attack and 500 defense. Its flavor text reads as a mechanical doll that has no emotion, expression other than a smile. The emotional response for this audience is its main source of energy. That sounds creepy. But other than that, it's kind of basically, the jester, I guess. Well, not a jester, but I guess the ringmaster, I guess. I don't really know how to explain him. He's probably either a ringmaster or announcer, but even then, he's kind of cool. But funny enough, this monster is actually sort of the main archetypal monster. I know, right? A level 1 monster. I think I've seen this before with, some previous villain characters. Anyway, next we have Glamourosaurus, a level 4 light attribute dinosaur type monster with 1400 attack and 500 defense. Its flavor text reads, a gentle dinosaur who cares not for conflict, always with a smile toward an audience. So, if you didn't know, the imaginary actor is, I guess, the, one that sorted the circus out, and the monsters behind it are the actors. Or, the entertainment, shall we say. So, probably had a life outside the circus, which is kind of related to this monster, as, let's be realistic, you wouldn't see a dinosaur in today's day and age, would you? But even then, he looks happy, he looks sound, and yeah. I think for going forward, I won't say 500 defense because, let's be realistic, they'll have 500 defense, so let's move on. Next, we have Magic Juggler, a level 4 light attribute spellcast type monster with 1400 attack. Its flavor text reads, an engagement man who never speaks of his past. Mysterious, okay. His baton wooden shakes the crowd wild as if it were magic. Now, I will talk about how that's kind of breaking the rule of him being a spellcaster, but I'm sorry, I'm disturbed by how handsome he looks. He can turn straight man gay, okay? Like, wow. Look at that wicked smile. And even then, it looks like Dracula, so interesting. But other than that, there's not really much to talk about because, again, it's a normal monster. But don't let these normal monsters just look like they're normal, trust me. Next, we have Serpainter, a level 4 light attribute dragon type monster with 1400 attack. Its flavor text reads, a marvelous dragon that lives beneath the clear water. He is now the popular mascot of the circus. So yeah, this kind of relates to me thinking that these monsters had a life outside the circus, if he is now the popular mascot of the circus. But even then, the design of this monster looks really cool. Like, it takes a sea serpent design-ish, but gives it hands. So it's kind of like a leviathan, sort of. But even then, it not being classed as sea serpent and dragon kind of makes it cool. So yeah, thumbs up for you, buddy. No wonder people like you. No wonder why you're popular. Next we have Sword Dancer, a level 4 light attribute warrior type monster with 1400 attack. A skilled swordsman that had once served a powerful nation. His sword flies through the unrivaled appearances of the crowd holding their breath. With this being very obviously interesting, seeming he was a technical soldier, but even then, that's kind of cool. And probably his sword skills are what probably actually landed him in the circus. Saying that, what's actually the actual qualification of the circus? I haven't realised. Like, it's saying he's a powerful, once a skilled swordsman from a powerful nation. Why does he only have 1400 attack? I don't know, that's kind of weird. Well, I hope we do get some battle of these guys, probably, at some point. We probably won't, but oh well. Next we have Snake Clown, a level 5 light attribute reptile monster with 1700 attack and 500 defense. Its flavor text reads, a charming serpent that's super sociable, its performance that sliver dance to the tune of the flute, turning spectators' frowns upside down. Honestly, I like the design of, a snake being a clown. And also actually relates to, snake taming, which is kind of fun. But the question is, who's the one playing the flute? That's actually an important question. But even then, I like the design, I like the, representation of it, and I actually like the reference to the IRL, snake charmers, so fun. Next we have Imaginary Reactor, and this is where the machine concept comes into play. A light attribute machine type monster with 500 attack and 500 defense. The requirement for its effect is to have 10 or more cards in your deck, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. This card's name becomes Imaginary Actor until your opponent's next turn. Then you can place one monster reincarnation from your graveyard to the bottom of the deck, and if you do, you can also draw 2 cards. Monster reincarnation? What the fuck? Okay, so I know monster reincarnation is like a card that you Goha uses, but a part of the Metarion archetype, I wouldn't believe it. I'm not gonna lie. Even then, its effect is, basically okay, I guess. Like, the requirement is kind of stiff, but it is what it is. But it becoming an Imaginary Actor is a representation for fusion monsters, as Imaginary Actor himself is the main course of the deck. So having more than just 3 copies of it in the deck, that's completely fine to me. Though I don't understand the monster reincarnation part. Like, yeah, I know Yuagaha uses it, but like, again, okay. But also drawing 2 is a very good thing, so you don't really lose anything. I think it's probably a +1 in a theoretical sense, but oh well. Next we have Fire Jester, a level 3 light pyro type monster, 1000 attack, 500 defense. The requirement for it is for you to have a face-up level 5 or higher light attribute monster on the field. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. You can make one face-up level 8 or lower monster in your opponent's field lose 500 attack and defense till the end of his turn. Now, it being basically like a jester kind of sort of fits the theme. Sort of. I don't know, it's kind of a, oddball of the group, if you know what I mean. But even then, I guess I give him a pass, because he kind of sort of relates to the fusion monsters itself, so again, thumbs up, but maybe in the middle. Though weakening your opponent's monsters is kind of like an okay thing, instead of the natural, fire, burn, if you know what I mean. Like, it actually changing its effect to basically weaken your opponent's monster kind of makes sense. And even though he's probably like a fire, not a pyromaniac, but could he be? Oh well. Next we have Attraction Golem, a level 4 light attribute rock type monster with 1400 attack and 500 defense. Its requirement reads, during the turn this card is almost summoned, You can reveal one light attribute normal monster with 500 defense in your hand to your opponent. Send top two cards to your deck to the graveyard, then inflict 500 damage to your opponent. So you're the one with the burn, but I don't get it. But I like the design of this monster. It kind of looks like a castle, in a sense, but like, it's not. But even then, I like how he has balloons on him to like show he's an attraction. And honestly, he looks kind of cute. I can't lie. Good job for you, buddy. Next, we have Evil Baller. Okay, a level 4 light attribute fiend type monster with 1,400 attack and 500 defense. Its requirement is to reveal one light attribute monster with 500 defense in your hand to your opponent. One face-up monster your opponent controls becomes a fiend type monster or the same type as the monster revealed to meet the requirement until the end of this turn. Now, for the extra monsters, this monster is basically a generic support for it all. Like, I can give it a pass for basically helping the actual archetype itself. It also be one of the newer two to be released. So again, I give it a thumbs up. But it kind of holds itself back a little bit. And in fact, I think the entire archetype holds itself back. But we'll get to that point later on when we talk about what they can do. So next we have Phantom Mask Master. A level 6 light attribute machine type monster with 1,800 attack and 500 defense. The requirement for this is to reveal one level 9 cyborg fusion type monster in your extra deck to your opponent, and declare one card name listed on the material of that monster. The effect of this is this card becomes that monster's declared name until the end of the turn. Now, it's basically saying, okay, I call this, I'll become this now. It's basically just a monster that will, it's basically a Elemental Hero Prisma situation of I reveal an extra deck monster, I become one of the fusion materials to complete the fusion requirement. That is literally all he is. And honestly, I give him a 1-star review. Like, come on, be a bit more creative instead of the Phantom Mask. Though, it does kind of look menacing in some way, shape, or form. Also, is he bending water, fire, and dark into it? Even light, like, what the fuck? What powers does this man have? Like, Jesus Christ. Next, we have Imaginary Lead Actor. A level 8 light attribute machine monster with 2,500 attack and 500 defense. The requirement is send top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. This card may becomes Imaginary Actor until the end of the turn. Then you can add one light attribute normal type monster with 500 defense and or fusion from your graveyard to your hand. Oh yeah, I forgot fusion was a thing. Spell card fusion was a thing. Well, we're going to talk about that later, but let's talk about this. So it being the lead actor of the show basically means it's the, great act of the show, basically. There's no other way to deny it. It also being level 8 helps the requirements for, Fire Jester, as well as, Phantom Mask Master, or whatever it is his name is. But even then, I'd give him a 3 out of 5. Because design looked absolutely fucking cool, I'm not gonna lie, but, it still has limitations, unfortunately. But again, we'll talk about that later. But having the ability to return monsters that are probably already been destroyed to your hand, yeah, good job. I'll give you a 5 for that one. Now we'll move on to the extra deck monsters. So, thanks to Phantom Mask Master, the extra deck kind of bit revealed. These monsters are all light attributes like last time, but instead of having different types, they are all cyborg type monsters. Yeah, cyborg type monsters are basically machine monsters fused with any other monster type other than machine to create this fusion. Kind of like Cyborg from Teen Titans. He's a half machine, half man. And it must include Imaginary Actor as fusion material. That is a very important key word. I hope you know. So let's move forward. Full Metarion Ashura is a level 10 light attribute cyborg monster with 3,200 attack and 2,500 defense. Its requirement is to place one card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. It has a multi-choice effect. Special one cyborg monster from your graveyard to your field of physical defense, or this card gains attack equal to the total attack of non-cyborg type monsters on your opponent's field until the end of this turn. Its fusion material is Imaginary Actor and a level 9 cyborg type monster. Now, I'm going to tell you something about these monsters now. They all have multi-choice effects, as you could probably guess, but the multi-choice effects are determined by two factors. One, a generic effect, which is the top effect, and the second effect is a archetypal choice, is a monster type effect. So basically, it affects a certain monster type, or it's a generic effect, who knows. Other than that, this monster is just an evolution of one of the main monsters first revealed to be fusion summoned. So that's good for him. But like, again, what the fuck? He's carrying a sword. Like, I know that, but like, also I like the design of these monsters. Like, Metarion monsters are always look cool looking, so yeah. Next we have Full Metarion Vista Star, a level 10 light attribute cyborg type monster with 3200 attack and 2500 defense. The requirement is no effect. There's none. So, no requirement. Fun. Its multi-choice effect is special one cyborg type monster from level 9 cyborg monster from graveyard to field and defense, or destroy one face-up non-cyborg monster you controls. Its fusion material is Imaginary Actor and Metarion Vista Star. So, it having, again, two basic materials, well, not two basic materials. Having two specific materials kind of ruined the monster a bit. But, oh well. But, literally, look at this Overrush art. It looks so fucking cool, Jesus Christ. But other than that, there's not really much to say about this monster, as it's entirely brand new. Same with the other one, the other level 10, but a Shiro Star, so yeah, we'll see how the two monsters go. Next we have Metarion Ashura Star, a level 9 light attribute cyborg type monster with 2800 attack and 2500 defense. The requirement for this effect is to send top card of your deck to the graveyard. Its multi-choice effect is destroy one face-up card your opponent controls, or one face-up cyborg monster you control gains attack equal to the total attack of face-up warrior monsters your opponent controls until the end of this turn. Now, obviously, its fusion material is Imaginary Actor and Sword Dancer. So, like I said, Sword Dancer is a warrior, so it gains the boost from the warrior monsters. And again, generic effect is kind of cool. So, again, plus to you. You get a thumbs up, buddy. And honestly, I like the design as, like, the 6 hands are, like, basically representation of, like, what's it? Obviously, him being a great swordsman, a powerful, skilled swordsman, shows that for his 6 hands. So, it also kind of sort of reminds me of Garmadon, but just with 2 extra hands. So, yeah, cool. Next, we have Meteor Genuine Star, a level 9 light attribute cyborg type monster with 2800 attack and 2500 defense. Its requirement is you have 10 or more cards in your deck. Its first effect is to draw a card, which is, you know, always a plus, or shuffles up to 6 rock type monsters in your opponent's graveyard into the deck, then inflict 1400 damage to your opponent. Its fusion material is Imaginary Actor and Attraction Golem. Oh, they turned my baby boy Golem into this. Like, I don't like the design of this whatsoever. Like, I get, like, it's meant to be a cyborg, so it has mechanical parts, but, like, what did they do to him? He doesn't look good whatsoever. He looks like he's constipated and wants to kill. Wait a minute. Metarion Hercules Star is a level 9 attribute cyborg type monster with 2800 attack and 2500 defense. Its requirement is to place 1 card from your graveyard to the bottom of your deck. Its multi-choice effect is shuffle 3 monsters in your graveyard in your opponent's graveyard into the deck, or shuffle 2 spellcast type monsters on your opponent's field into the deck. Now this monster, you're probably thinking, 7's road counter? No, not really. I mean, you can counter it by returning 7 Roads Magician back into the deck, but at the end of the day, not really. And because it uses Magical Juggler, being spellcast type monster, yeah, you can kind of guess where this is going, from just the, obviously, spellcaster effect. Next we have Metarion King Cobra Star, A level 9 light attribute cyber time monster with 3000 attack, 2500 defense. Its requirement is send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Multi-check, force choice effect. Draw 2 cards and send one card from your hand to the graveyard, or make all face-up reptile monsters on your opponent controls lose 1000 attack until the end of the turn. This turn is card can make up to 2 attacks. Now, it combining with Snake Clown, it kind of ruins this aspect of him, and yet again, it's cyborg, so makes sense, but like, look at him. He don't look like the perfectly happy boy he once was. He looks depressed. I don't like it. But even then, I gotta give a plus to the design of like it being basically a mechanical snake, so yeah, thumbs up. Metarion Loader Star is a level 9 light attribute cyborg type monster with 2800 attack and 2500 defense. Its requirement is send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Multi-choice effect. You can make one face-up monster your opponent controls lose 1005 attack to the end of the turn, or all dinosaur monsters your opponent controls lose 2000 attack and defense until the end of the turn. Now, it using Glamosaurus, I'm kind of upset about because, again, he was once so happy and now he's just a 3-headed beast. Like a Hydra. More importantly, why the fuck is he a Hydra? Like, he was a dinosaur, like, not this shit, unless the other 2 heads are mechanical. I've also been noticing they all running a theme of wearing imaginary actors, well, mask on them. That's kind of weird. Like, yeah, very weird. Next we have Meteor Medusa Star, a level 9 light attribute cyborg time monster with 2800 attack and 2500 defense. The requirement is to place one card monster from your graveyard to the bottom of your deck. Multi-choice effect. One face down spell or trap your opponent controls cannot be activated. One spell trap card your opponent field cannot be activated until the end of this turn. Or destroy one face-up fiend monster on your opponent's field. And obviously using Evil Baller, you probably would turn the opponent's monster to, well, fiend. So that kind of makes sense. Wait a second, that's probably why Genuine Star is like a rock. Because this is Medusa Star. That makes so much sense, what the fuck? No wonder he's depressed. And this bitch turned him into an actual stone. You goddamn bitch. Metarion Star V-Star is a level 9 light attribute cyborg type monster with 2000 attack or 2500 defense. So requirements, none. Great start. Choose one face-up monster your opponent's field, change from attack position to face-down defense position. Or destroy all dragon type monsters your opponent's field up to a number of face-up cyborg monsters on your field. Now you're using Sir Painter. Like, I gotta give it props because again, it's like a Leviathan, so again, cool. Second of all, I love the design of him, especially in this. Like, I don't mind the mechanic, like it being like robotic. It kind of reminds me of like Mecha Ghidorah, so cool. And thirdly, I don't know what else to say. I really don't. Like, having the ability to destroy just dragons is kind of weak. Especially because there's stuff like high dragons that exist. But, yeah, it is what it is. But again, cool. So we're going to move on to the spells and traps. Now, this time, yes, there is actually spells and traps to talk about. So we're going to talk about them. And I like how this archetype got support before Ultimate Flagback even got more spells and traps. What fun. First we have Imaginary Arc Talent. A normal spell with the requirement of no requirement. Again, fun. Excavate top 4 cards of your deck. You can send one excavated normal light attribute monster with 500 defense, or excavate one fusion to your graveyard. Place the other cards at the bottom deck in any order. Then if you do, send a card from your deck to the graveyard with a requirement, draw a card. Now, again, talking about fusion is a thing that, again, will probably come up and we will have to talk about. But other than that, it's okay because it kind of basically just makes you draw if you get a monster with 500 defense, a light normal monster, and the deck has plenty of them. And even then, there's not really much to talk about. Also, I really like the poster of this because it's trying to entice people to come to the circus, either to watch the show or probably join the act. That's probably what happened to Attraction Golem in Evil Baller. How interesting. Imaginary Arc Turbo is a normal spell with the requirement of sending one card from your hand to the graveyard. Make one face-up light level 9 attribute monster on the field or light attribute normal monster on the field, gain 500 attack until the end of its turn. If you have Imaginary Act in the graveyard, that monster gains an additional 1000 attack until the end of its turn. Now, the spell card is just basically a generic boost to level 9 light attribute monsters, but also works well with the normal monsters as well. And having Imaginary Actor as weak as it is, easily go to grave, this kind of helps the deck boost having consistency a bit more. Especially because, let's be realistic, there's not many high tap point monsters in the deck. So again, having a monster basically at what, like 2900 attack as level 4 from just one card from hand to grave is kind of good. So again, props to you for being a level 4 low booster, though it is restricted to normal monsters for that one. Metarion Fusion, a infusion spell with no requirement. Again, I feel like I've been in this situation before. How interesting. Fusion summon a cyborg type monster by sending monsters from hand or field to the graveyard as fusion material. Then you can add one fusion or monster sent to the graveyard by the sphere to the graveyard to your hand. This being a main archetypal fusion spell is kind of good because, let's be realistic, it kind of needs it. But also, I'm not gonna lie, the pendant thing on the spell card is basically the center of Imaginary Actor, which is kind of interesting. That's probably where all their souls go to rest. Sorry, I went off there for a second. But again, another card that mentions fusion. Do I really have to talk about this? I don't want to. Fine. We have the spell card Fusion, a normal spell with no requirement. Effect: fusion summon by sending face-up monsters from the field to the graveyard. Now, not to mistake it being called polymerization, because there's an actual spell called polymerization, this spell card is a watered down version of it, sort of. As when fusion monsters were first introduced, Gohar was the first to introduce them. And because of how dominant fusion is as a mechanic, it had to be watered down as to using only monsters on your field, which doesn't break the consistency of rush duels. And yes, before I even finish this entire section, I will clarify this now. Fusion itself belongs to 20 different archetypes, this one being one of them. If you guys will hit at least, 1,000 views, maybe I'll do a video on fusion and how it itself has become a main staple of rush duels itself. But I don't think this video is going to get 1,000 views. Or at least, whatever. I'm not expecting 1,000 likes. At least 1,000 views would do me. But yeah, that is the one and only time I'll talk about it, unless you guys reach 1,000 views. Monster Reincarnation, a normal spell with the requirement to send one card from your hand to the graveyard, and one monster from your graveyard to the hand. Now, to make it seem like this card does not exist as an archetype card, it is. I have checked its archetypal classification. It is classed as a Metarion card. I'm not joking. The first legend card to be classed as an archetypal card itself that isn't based around that one card. It belongs to a fusion-based archetype. Like, I'm not surprised, and even then, it's not a very good, it's not a very good legend card itself, but it's sort of based, this deck is sort of based around it, so I guess it's got to suffice for now. But even then, it's okay. And even then, if you do lose Imaginary Actor, you can just get it back to your hand for this single card, so yeah, what fun. Imaginary Arc Tower, a field spell with the requirement of sending one light attribute monster if you have a light attribute normal monster with 500 defense in the graveyard. While this card is faced on the field, all face-up non-light attribute monsters on the field lose 300 attack. and face-up level 9 attribute monsters cannot be destroyed by trap card effects. Now that last effect is kind of only related to the fusion monsters, as it basically protects them from trap destruction, as none of them have that. So yeah, fun. But even then, this is a very good archetypal field spell. It kind of fits the theme, and it basically helps the lower monsters get stronger in some sort of way, but directly boosting them themselves. So yeah, other than that, a good field spell for an archetype that is basically based around weak monsters. Next we have Imaginary Actor Turbulence, a normal trap with the requirement of your opponent have a monster on the field while you have a light attribute monster with high defense in the graveyard. Change one face up attack position monster level 8 or higher monster on the field to defense position, and then you could destroy one face up monster your opponent controls with the same type as a normal monster in your graveyard. Now, it having this generic, not as much of a generic effect as it is, with being very specific, it kind of helps the fusion monsters get over powerhouse monsters. What I mean by this? Well, you can basically switch your monster to defense mode, and if you have the correct type in graveyard, you can destroy the correct monster. The correct monster type monster. So in other words, this again fits the bill, through being a very good spell trap card. But again, something's still not quite right with this entire archetype. But we'll move forward to Imaginary Actor Arc Turnback, a normal trap with the requirement of when your attack position light attribute monster is destroyed by an opponent's attack. Special on one sideboard attack monster or one light attribute normal monster with found defense in your graveyard face to the field. Now this kind of being a monster reborn as a trap card is kind of funny, as I'm not gonna lie, later on Monster Reborn is revealed to be in his deck, but anyway. In other words, this trap card is okay. It doesn't do a lot, but it does enough to keep you alive for a turn, I guess, but even then, it doesn't really do a lot. Also, I love the card artwork on this. Like, basically, a Sure Star is basically been destroyed with the heart still in place. It's trying to bring him back, which is kind of fucking creepy. Imaginary Arc Turnover is a normal trap with the requirement of your opponent normal or special summon a monster. Fusion summon a sideboard monster by shuffling monsters from your field and or graveyard into the owner's deck as material. Then choose one level 8 or lower monster to your opponent's field and destroy it. Now this being a trap card to fuse is kind of good, and it's shuffling monsters from your graveyard or field back to deck is basic recyclement. But again, like, you're relying on your opponent to have lower level monsters than you are on this. Like, if they summon a fusion monster, then you're kind of fucked. If you're looking at 7 Rose Magician, you're kind of fucked. And even then, why the hell would you want to fusion someone on your opponent's field, on your opponent's turn, when you don't gain an effect on their turn? Again, kind of strange. Also, I love the destruction blast of the heart, so that's kind of fun. So now we talked about these monsters, what decks can they work in? Well, here's the thing. Like I said, I've been kind of feeling a bit off about this archetype from the very start. You're probably wondering, oh, it's probably not your style or anything. No, I've playtested them quite a lot. It's just one little tiny problem. They can't work in any other deck. What do I mean by this? They can only work with themselves, which is a real shame. The reason for this being is because, well, there is really nowhere else for them to go. They are all based on basically circus acts themselves, as both the monster type and all the difference in monster type explain. The imaginary actor basically needed acts for his show. So what do? Put up posters and get some people in. He basically brought the circus to the acts he needed to him by just simply saying, come along in, you'll fit in just fine. And he was right, they did. They all fit completely well in one archetype. But that's kind of its problem. It can't go anywhere else. It's only one playstyle as fusion. And without fusion, there's not really much else for the archetype to do. They're just kind of stuck where they are. It's basically the actor is saying, you can't go anywhere else. You're stuck with me forever. You have nowhere else to escape. Because you already belong to somewhere that you call home. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications if you need to. And who knows, maybe I will do a video on fusion. So thank you guys so much for watching, and have an amazing day. This is Yuan signing out.